Oh, the boys are still with us. Hello, boys. How are you?
Good.
Good stuff. OK, first of all, it seems the house now is obviously split into two groups. We touched on it before the break, with Cleo and Ian floating in the middle. What should the housemates do to regroup?
I think...
Or can they do anything?
I think they need to send in new people.
OK. And
really throw it into chaos. Because I think it's unbreakable.
Firstly, who would go in there at the moment?
I think some fit, sexy man.
OK, yeah. and who would you put in there? But who would agree to go in there at the moment?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, it's a shame because, in a way, what it does need is some strong... Possibly B. It would be great if A, but I think A, definitely not. B, some strong, real celebrities go in and slightly blow it apart a little bit. Blow apart the Jade dynamic. Give them a dose of some sort of reality. But also, oddly enough, I mean, in a way, but the interruptions early on have been so huge. I also count Carol Malone, in a way, the tabloid journalist. I think she was also an interruption into the general dynamic of celebrities in a situation. But in a way, another interruption might actually settle it down a little bit and get us back to the experiment.
It sounds strange. I miss Leo, and I never thought I'd say that.
Oh,
yeah, we miss Leo because, in a way, there was a kind of innocence to his horror.
Yeah, I know.
Whereas now the horror is slightly sinister.
OK, listen, could Cleo and Ian do more? That's really, I mean, in terms of the situation we've got at the moment.
Because I know Ian, so I'm so surprised. I think he's just not being himself. But then again, I think it's difficult when this is all going on. I don't think he wants to get involved, because I don't think he wants to say something he regrets.
Of course.
But I think he's just being a little bit too serious, and he just needs to be himself and just say something.
Well, one of the great things about H was when he becomes serious, because us haters, and H is for hate in many ways, we're quite, aghast that here was a guy suddenly being sensitive and concerned about the issues. Where he stopped was not taken out of the diary room and engaging with the problems
OK, let's have a reminder where the power lies in the house.
Ourselves free, it's them free and them two.
I don't like that because I like both sides.
So do I.
I feel suddenly groups have formed. That's happened after Jade's come in.
You need etiquette classes, Jade. You need etiquette classes.
I don't want manners. You know what? You need to be a real life in your life. That's what you need.
Get it? You can't reason with stupidity.
Who's in there? Shilpa.
Quicker than that, Shilpa!
Little army. Aren't they human? Little army with a general.
The three little musketeers.
I think we've got a problem.
I mean, I guess it depends on who goes on Friday, but can you see the dynamic of the house changing?
I think if possibly if Jade went, I think it would change slightly, because I think Danielle and Joe, for some strange reason, are almost coattating her, and, you know, Jade is queen. I think if Jade went, maybe it would. That's what I think.
I think it's got to change to an extent that some of the people in there, like Dirk, for instance, there's got to be a moment when they reach a kind of tipping point, if you like, and they really start to get to grips with what's going on. At the moment, he officially announced very early on he was withdrawing, and as did Ian H. But there comes a moment when they've really got to tackle this, because they've really got to say, it's a game per se, but there's also areas where this kind of game needs us to really deal with this tension and this hatred. And Jermaine also, I mean, it's all very well, this lovey-dovey things that he does, but there's a lot of hate in that house, and his love and his little mantras are not really doing anything to do with it.
Do you think hate's the right word?
Hate's the right word, absolutely. Hate, absolutely, and that's why people are talking about racism.
You're talking about hate or H?
H is for hate, as I said. But you see, it's that thing of tackling. You know, Jermaine is not tackling the situation, and to some extent, we've all been in a room with Jade, and we know what it's like to slightly tickle her fancy and have a go at you, and we know that they don't want to do it. But there comes a moment where they're really going to have to deal with it.
Sure.
It's all very well saying it's schoolgirl stuff, and I'm too old for this, but because they're too old, because they're grown-ups, they're going to have to deal with it.
Listen, I haven't got time to go and slap the light boxes, but who would you like to win?
Ian.
Ian
Shilpa.
And Shilpa. OK.